Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my updated foundation routine. A whole bunch of you wanted me to film this because I mentioned it in a previous video. So I finally have filmed it for you guys so that you can see what I've changed and what I do. I also included my nose contours so you guys can see a little bit more in depth on how I do that. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and let's get started. So for foundation, I do have a little bit of fake tan on. I use the Loving Tan 2-Hour Dark Express, and so kind of need to match my face back with my tan or else it looks a little uneven. So I'm using L'Oreal True Match 3D Golden Beige. And this is one of my favorite foundations. I've used it forever. It's like a satin finish. It just glides on so easy for me. And I just love the finish of it. So I normally do a pump and a half so that all of my pale skin is covered, and I'm blending it out with my Real Techniques beauty sponge because we all know what happened with the beauty blender. So I really like using this sponge for an everyday natural finish. So I hope everybody's holidays was amazing. If you don't know already, I got engaged on the 1st, which is so exciting. It was the best day ever. Patty, I think, sneakily tried to film it on a GoPro, but it didn't work, so there's no footage from it. But it was such a perfect day. It was so romantic. He took me to the spa. We went out to my favorite restaurant for a seafood dinner. It was honestly so perfect and relaxing and just filled with lots of love. I know you guys really don't know Patty, so maybe I'll try and get him on here to talk to you guys some more so you can kind of meet him a little bit more, but he's just the best. So woo, that's a lot of foundation on my brows. Oops. So I'm heading home to Canada on the 14th. So a couple of you mentioned a meetup in Toronto because I'm pretty close to there. So if you're in the Toronto area or even the GTA, let me know if that would be something you're interested in, because I would love to meet some of you guys because I'm in the UK and it's probably going to be rare of me coming home a lot. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in because I think that would be fun. Although I'm so scared to go and then no one shows up. I'll just tell my friends to go. I don't know. So let me know and I will figure out some details and a date, and that would be really fun. Also, do you guys like the lighting better? I'm using a ring light because Patty got me one for Christmas, and it is so dark out today and stormy and rainy, so it still might not be perfect lighting because I use natural lighting alongside, so maybe it's a little better right now, but it definitely can be better than today because it looks like it's like 4 in the morning. It is so dark out right now, although it normally is in Ireland. So I really like to take my time with my foundation just so that it's evenly blended, and I find when your face makeup looks nice and blended, then the rest of your makeup just kind of falls into place. So take your time with your base because it really does matter. So for concealer, you guys know I love my Collection Lasting Perfection concealer in Fair, and I love Urban Decay Naked Skin in Light Warm or Light Neutral, but I recently repurchased the MAC Pro Longwear concealer, and this is in NW20, and I used this a while ago. I don't know if I was YouTubing when I used this concealer, but I used to be obsessed with it. I'm taking on my MAC Duo Fiber stippling brush, and I like to just place it right in the areas that I want to kind of highlight and correct. So the inner corners of my eye, bringing it down just a little bit because I have a lot on my hand to use here. I'm gonna put a little bit on my forehead, around my nose, anywhere that you find that you touched throughout the day and kind of removes foundation, you want to put this so you're good. And then I'm going to just take the rest and kind of stipple it on to my brush, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend. I find concealer makes such a difference when you put it on. Like, it just lifts your face, it makes you look awake, and it gives dimension back into the face. So after that's all blended out, I like to set wherever I used concealer with my Laura Mercier translucent powder. You guys know I love this stuff. I use it with my Real Techniques sponge, and I just kind of press that into it and then just go right into my eyes, like against the grain. Does that make sense? So instead of going outwards, I would go inwards so that it goes in the crease so it fills it out and prevents creasing as long as possible. So with the translucent powder, I didn't put it anywhere on my cheeks or on the outskirts of my face because instead of using a powder bronzer, I've been using this cream bronzer and I am obsessed with it. And it is the Chanel Universal Bronze and it is so beautiful. I don't know why I haven't picked this up earlier. It has been my favorite thing in the world. I've always been kind of scared of like cream contouring or cream blushes, anything like that, because I would tend to be more on the oily side of the spectrum, but this is not like a full-on cream. I think it's more, not a mousse. I don't know how to explain the texture. It just like glides on perfectly. I think it mixes really well with the oils on my face and it doesn't like build up throughout the day where it makes little, what's the word? Like it doesn't look muddy or dirty. It just stays in place. It's not too dark, so it's beautiful in the winter when you're a little bit more on the pale side, but it also looks stunning in the summer when you have a little bit more of a tan because it just gives that bronze glow to the skin. I'm taking it on my Loud Makeup dome shaped brush and just kind of packing it on the brush, just tapping it. And then I'm gonna do a light contouring with it. So just taking it from the top of my ears and blending downwards. I'm not going to touch the apples of my cheek, just sticking on my cheekbone. And you can just see how natural that looks. I'm so in love with this product. I think it's amazing. It is a little steep, but I think it's going to last forever, so it's definitely worth the money, worth the purge. So I just love how natural that looks, and it seriously just is so easy to blend. So it really is a foolproof product if you're looking for a new bronzer and you kind of want to try a different texture rather than a powder. I highly recommend the Chanel Universal Bronze. Now I do like to set it in place, and I'm taking my Charlotte Tilbury Sculpt and Glow palette and just taking the bronzer side and just lightly buffing upwards to kind of set that in place and give a little bit more depth just because I do have fake tan on. Where is my brush? The brush fairy stole it. Can't find it. Okay, so as promised, I was going to show you how I do my nose contour. So what I like to do is take what's left over on the brush I used for the Universal Tan and kind of just buff out the edges a little bit so it kind of creates a gradient for us so that it doesn't look too stark when we go in with the powder section. Powder portion? Powder whatever, you know what I mean. If I just went in with the cool tone bronzer, then it would look very just unnatural. So this gives a little bit of warmth, like where I put it everywhere else on my face, so that when we go in with a cooler tone, it just looks a little bit more of a gradient effect and a lot more natural than just going in straight away with a darker contour color. So going back to the Charlotte Tilbury Sculpt and Glow, I like using this powder because it isn't a straight matte powder. It does have the slightest sheen in it. And when I mean slightest, I mean slightest. I asked the person I bought it from at Charlotte Tilbury why it wasn't matte, and it's because your skin isn't matte. There is a sheen with it, and especially if you have oily skin, there's obviously going to be sheen on your face. So it kind of just mimics skin texture. So I'm taking it on a Sigma E25 blending brush, and I'm just kind of swirling it around at the tip. And then the trick is you don't want to go on the outsides because that's actually going to make it appear larger. You want to go as thin as possible, and then instead of doing a circle at the end, because I already find I have like a button nose, I hate it, I've always had a button nose, I just want to do right underneath to mimic a thinner looking tip. So if I'm going to start with the tip, I just go right underneath, and you're kind of doing like an upside down triangle. And this way it kind of like turns it up just a little bit so it looks nice and like pointy a bit. This is not going to be everyone's thing, it's just how I like to contour my nose, so just cut this out if you don't, or if you have your own way of doing it. I'm just showing you how I do it. So starting right at the brow, I'm going to start bringing that down, and I'm bringing it almost to the middle section. You want to really bring it so it's a thin line in, so it mimics a straight, thin nose. Right into the inner corner of my eye. And do the same thing with the other side. Now it looks crazy now when you're looking at it, but we're going to go back in with our concealer brush and buff out the edges so it highlights here, because if you left the dark all on the sides, it almost gives the appearance of a larger like nostril area. So keep this for blending, but we're gonna buff it out with a lighter color. Going back to the concealer brush, and I had a little bit left on my hands, I'm just gonna buff that upward, starting at the nostril and bringing it up. Just setting it in place so that it doesn't move. So that my nose doesn't move. My nose contour can't move throughout the day, guys. It needs to stay in place. So that's how I do my nose contour. It's pretty simple, but I like to take my time with it so that it doesn't look like over contour. If you do it the wrong way, it actually can attract people to your nose, like it can become the main focus of the face, so you do want to take your time with contouring your nose. Now for blush, you know my favorite blush is NARS Sin, but I have been venturing out and I've been trying some UK brands, and I recently picked up a Max Factor blush, and this is in 10 Nude Mauve, and it is beautiful. I am so happy with it. So I'm going to take it on a Morphe, it's a synthetic like little dome shaped blush brush. I'm just going to swirl it around and pop that onto the apples of my cheek. I'm going to blend out the edges so it doesn't look so stark. For highlight, I'm going to take my Revolution highlighter palette. I showed this in my New Year's Eve makeup tutorial. It just has like the nice light champagne color. Wait, which side am I on? Like the yellow color, the pinky one, and then the lavender one. And they're so pigmented. And I think this was like £6. It was like £6 at Superdrug. So such a fan of this. I'm taking it on, this is going to be a surprise because I normally use this to set my under eyes, the tapered highlighter F35 brush from Sigma. I'm going to take that middle kind of peachy color. I don't know if it's showing up as the peach on camera, but it's just a nice peachy color, and just swipe that on places I want to lift. Now that Max Factor blush does have an iridescence to it, so it kind of adds to the highlight of my cheeks, which I'm all for. So I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. So that's it for my foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it and it was helpful for you. If you guys want a tutorial on this makeup look, which was just super simple, it's been my everyday look recently, I can film that for you so that you can see the rest of it with the foundation routine. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!